But really
Yeah.
quickly, can you admit the Trump admin illegally deported someone?
They said they did.
They said they did, and can
Yeah.
you admit that they're defying a Supreme Court order to facilitate the return, a 9-0 Supreme
Uh
Court order?
uh I mean, I have a very low threshold on this because I think the real danger is they're violating court orders. So
Do
I
you think
say
if someone do you
yes,
think
I
if
say
someone
yes, and
beats
they
their
shouldn't.
wife, it's justifiable to deport them with no due process? You obviously don't believe
Well,
that,
well,
right?
like,
Even if he is a
well,
thug,
well, well. Again, um, they said they did it by mistake. I don't know whether they did. They said they did. Here's what I think. What I think is mushy and poetry. It's not legal and rigorous. I think that the president has a point when he says mistakes are going to be made. There's not going to be nothing's a perfect process. I think that if you went and looked at what president was called nicknamed the deporter in chief?
obviously Obama, yeah.
Obama. Okay. I think if you went and looked at every deportation that was conducted under the name of Barack Obama, you'd find some cases where you and I would say, I was a little fast.
Yeah,
That
remember
would
that
what
9-0 Supreme Court ruling under Obama that said that they illegally deported someone and that they need to facilitate the return? Me neither.
again, the press wasn't fly-specking them as much. He deported a lot of people. And I'm just telling you, without having to examine the case files, I bet you some of those families were upset. I bet you some of those people were deported. Well, I know, go back and look at the left. The reason they call him the deporter in chief was they said he was deporting people who shouldn't have been deported, and he was deporting people without sufficiently examining their cases. See what I'm saying? Like, I don't even need to do the reporting to know. I can't say the cases are exactly comparable, but
Yeah,
I would bet you that if the press and I say with respect, fly spec all the Obama deportations, you'd find some that didn't have what you would call sufficient due process. I
yeah, but
bet you. And I bet you some people were mistakenly deported.
I
I
don't
would
believe
bet
the
you.
I don't believe the press began to fly spec this until a judge was like, "Yo, this is pretty messed up. I'm pretty sure you
Well,
just deported someone."
that's because well, it's an interesting question. I don't know the question. I wonder if my dad knows. See if my dad knows because he's on and he knows a lot about this stuff. He dropped off. I wonder. I don't know. Were there legal cases brought against the Obama deportations in individual cases? Seems like there must have been.
Do you think he would have facilitated the return, Obama?
Well, again, they said they did it by. Oh, you mean if they did it, made a mistake, and then
If
yeah,
Obama had made a mistake, would he
he
have
would, he
facilitated the
would, he
return?
would. But let's table it in the American sense, not the British sense. In the British sense, if you say table, it means put it on the table and discuss it. In the American sense, same expression, it means let's stop talking about it for now. But
Okay.
I want to do some research, and I want to find out if the left challenged specific Obama deportations and went to federal court and got orders. Now, maybe in your conception of things, if that happened, the Obama administration followed the law and tried to bring them back. But I bet you that there were some cases that you would say revealed by judges' rulings that the Obama administration did not pay sufficient deference to due process in every single case, and that the reason we don't know about it is because the press didn't cover it like it was the end of the world. That's my guess.
I will grant you, I read an ACLU article from 2013 that said Obama was kind of speed running these deportations. But my main problem with the Trump admin, then we can move on, is they're playing this weird game of heads I win, tails you lose, where they're saying that a lot of people can't file habeas petitions before they're deported because it's premature or they don't have enough time or they need something in particular. But then after someone's deported, they say, oh, sorry, you also can't get a habeas petition now because we don't have the
Right.
jurisdiction to bring you
Yep.
back because you're
Yep.
in El Salvador. So it's
Right.
kind of this weird game of heads I win, tails you lose. No matter what happens, you're screwed. And I
Yeah.
just want to go back to what I was saying. Once you create a class of people where you deprive them of due process, even if it's a mistake or an accident, then you refuse to bring them back. It sets a dangerous precedent, especially when Trump is openly floating deporting homegrown citizens. Listen, not you, I'm not talking to you, but like when people are
Yeah.
saying that Democrats are freaking out about this like lack of due process thing, and then we look at the president in the Oval Office saying that homegrown should be deported, which he clearly said, is you understand why it's a little bit alarming?
I do. And if he did it, I'd be super alarmed. But he says all sorts of stuff that he doesn't do. And I try to reserve my concern for things that he really does. And I'll say this, and I'll try to choose my words carefully because while I love to make news, I don't like to be attacked for things I don't really mean. I am a staunch civil libertarian, and I have great concern if the president is disregarding court orders. I have also extreme intellectual and attitudinal sympathy towards people who say people in this country here illegally, they're not entitled to have more of our tax dollars wasted on them for the niceties of due process. I understand why tens of millions of people think that because they're not citizens of this country, and they're asking us to spend money on judges and administrators and plane tickets to send them out of here. They shouldn't be here. I have sympathy for that point of view. Not saying I agree with it, but I understand it. I understand why they feel that way.
Yeah, I can understand it.
Hey, want to be part of the two-way community all the time? Hit the subscribe button. Great video clips like this, plus conversations like no other, full episodes, and more, always available on this channel. You got to hit subscribe to never miss a thing.